In 1855, 5 years after statehood, San Francisco was still raw, young, and exciting. Men came from every state and territory, each seeking a new world and a new beginning, and each certain that the book of the past could be closed. Then California was faced with its first extradition case.
Robert Finley, spell foreign.
Foreign? Yes, sir. P-H-O-R-4-I-N-N, foreign.
Well, that sounds logical, but it's not right.
Mr. Keel,
Yes?
could I talk to you alone, please?
Oh, boys, I think we'll have recess now.
Ralph Keel?
Yes?
Are you from Louisiana, Mr. Keel? Did you ever spend any time in Louisiana?
Marshal, what is this?
I have an extradition order for Ralph Keel for the murder of Senator Dupre in Louisiana.
I never killed anyone in my life.
Then perhaps you're not the man I'm looking for. Mind showing me your right wrist? It's a scar from a manacle, isn't it?
Yes,
Did you ever spend any time in a chain gang?
that's right.
The state of Louisiana charges you with the murder of Senator Dupre.
No, I'm not guilty of murder.
Sorry, I'm gonna have to take you in. You'll be held without bail pending extradition to Louisiana.
California, California,
The Californians.
California, I've come to live where life is best. In the Golden West, I'm gonna strike it rich in California. California.
Wayne, I'm sick and tired of being put off. I got a right to kill. I want him. And I want him now.
He stays right where he is till he has a hearing.
He's my prisoner. You saw the court papers.
But I didn't see yours. You say you're a deputy. Let me see your credentials.
Well, I showed him to the judge.
Now you can show them to me. Special deputy.
That's right.
No, it's not right. You're a bounty hunter.
Call it what you like.
I'll tell you what I call it. Lowest form of vermin that walks. How much is Keel worth to you?
$5,000. And I'm going to collect it. With your help.
Not if I can stop it.
I'm Mrs. Keel. My husband sent word for me to meet him here. Is there anything wrong?
Maybe I better let him tell you. So, this way, Mr. Keel.
Ralph. Ralph, what are you doing here? What do they think you've done?
You committed a murder in New Orleans.
He's charged.
New Orleans? Why, Ralph's never been to New Orleans. He's from Chicago. You see, it's all a mistake.
No, it isn't, Clara.
Well, I don't believe it. You could never murder anybody.
I didn't. But I was in New Orleans. I was in prison there.
Prison? Why, what for? You never told me.
People don't talk about those things.
Shut up.
Ralph,
I never wanted you to know.
why?
You were sent to prison for robbery, 10 years. It was double for breaking discipline.
Please, Marshal, will you let Ralph tell me?
Chandler, get out of here. I'll throw you out.
Tell me the truth, from the beginning.
I stole. Food, clothes. That's how I stayed alive. I hadn't eaten for 2 days. They caught me stealing a can of molasses.
They put you in prison for that?
They sentenced me to a swamp gang. Hauling turpentine all day, chained up all night.
And you killed somebody to get away from all that.
No,
He hit a guard with a pick handle and escaped.
that's right. I broke into a church. I opened a poor box, got the money, made my way to Chicago, and I joined the Army.
You haven't even mentioned the murder of Senator Dupre.
I didn't kill him.
You broke into his house.
No, the door was open.
All right, he found you there. Caught you stealing. Tried to stop you and you shot him. Isn't that what happened?
No, that's not what happened. I didn't kill him.
Then what are you hiding? If you didn't kill him, you know who did. You were there. Now, what did happen?
Marshal, that's something I can never tell you.
If you go back to Louisiana, they'll hang you. Do you realize that?
I can't help it.
Ralph, don't let this happen. Tell him whatever he wants to know. Are you protecting someone?
No. Well, it's a secret. It's something sacred.
Oh, Ralph, I understand everything except why you won't talk.
You'll just have to trust me.
I do. You're a fine man, Ralph. I know now why you fought so hard to keep that school going, and why you would never turn a boy away.
Thank you, Clara.
Oh, Ralph, I'm not going to let them send you back without a fight. I'll get you a good lawyer. I'll get anything.
She's not the only one on your side, Q.
Oh, hello, Matt. Here you've got Keel. What's he like?
He's not a killer, Jeremy. I have no evidence to prove it, but I feel it. What can we do?
I've already done it. Petition the governor to grant a hearing.
Will he?
Well, he's got to. It's more than just Keel. A precedent has to be set in this case whether Keel is innocent or guilty. And by the way, you might have some trouble with Chandler when he finds out it'll be a long time before he can get Keel.
Maybe.
You know, somehow I just don't trust him.
Neither do I. That's why I have a man following every move he makes.
Here's the rest of your money, $5,000. Oh, it's all there, Mr. Chandler.
Just to have it. In a business like mine, not exactly healthy to trust anybody.
I have your word he won't be sent back to Louisiana?
Well, not exactly. See, I sort of been thinking some about you, Mrs. DePreez.
You're not to use that name. I'm Mrs. Tinsley.
All right, Mrs. DePreez. From now on, you're Mrs. Tinsley. Like I was saying, why are you so interested in keeping the man that killed your husband from going back to face trial?
My reasons are no concern of yours, Mr. Chandler.
Things have changed. Seems like I didn't ask enough.
Get out of here. And don't bother to return.
Think about it, Mrs. Tinsley. I'll be back. I'm looking for the marshal.
He's out. You want something?
Tell him the deputy from Louisiana dropped in.
He went someplace about your extradition case.
You know about that.
I know everything goes on around here.
I'm on my way to Bella Union. Maybe you'd join me in a little drink? Mr.
Carter. Sure. Why not?
You don't have to hold down the office?
My uncle's an alderman.
Tomorrow's too soon for a hearing, Jeremy.
Matt, Keel will get a fair trial. You can count on that.
But he won't talk about the murder. When it comes to that, he'll shut up tight.
Look, it's his neck, not ours. We're just trying to set a precedent.
And I'm trying to save his neck. Ralph Keel hasn't denied his record. He came to San Francisco to get away from the past, just like a lot of us right here in this room. But since he's been here, is there one law that he's broken? No. He helped Father Devlin build the Church of Our Lady, where his saloon once stood. And he built a school, not for money, but to give other boys a chance that he never had himself. Doesn't that have to be made part of the record, too? Doesn't the record of the man make up for the record of the boy? Your Honor, I think Ralph Keel has already paid for his crimes, and I think that this court ought to weigh very carefully before it takes a respected citizen of this community away from his wife and his children.
But, Marshal, the charge against him is murder.
Ralph Keel swears he's innocent. I happen to believe him. So does everybody who knows him. I can't prove it. Nobody can but Ralph Keel himself.
The court is willing to give you one last chance to testify on your own behalf.
Ralph, please.
I did not kill Senator Dupre. Whatever the sentence is, I can say no more.
Marshal, the extradition order must be honored. Put the prisoner aboard the first scheduled vessel. He is to be returned to the jurisdiction of the state of Louisiana.
No.
I'm sorry.
There's Ma prisoner now.
The judge said the first scheduled vessel. You get your pound of flesh then, not 1 minute before.
I'll wait.
Step aside.
Sure, for now. What are you going to do now, Mrs. Dupree's?
I paid you what you asked.
You know what's going to happen in New Orleans? They're not going to take Keel out and hang him. They're going to give him a trial first. You want to testify at that trial, Mrs. Dupree's? I mean, Mrs. Tinsley.
How much more do you want to see that Ralph Keel doesn't return to Louisiana?
Another 5,000.
How can I be sure?
There's going to be an accident on the boat, and
I don't want to hear anything about it.
what I mean to say is, you don't have to pay me till I get back to New Orleans alone.
Very well, Mr. Chandler.
I was afraid you wouldn't come.
It's a strange place to want to see me, Mrs. Keel.
Well, I didn't think it was right to meet you in your office.
Why not?
Our neighbors have raised money. They've sold things. They've taken up a collection so Ralph wouldn't have to go back. So that the two of us could go off somewhere and... Marshal, I'm not asking you. I'm begging. Please let us go.
I can't.
No one will ever know. Look, I've had tickets made out in the name of Smith. I've even paid the captain
Mrs.
to...
Keel, please. I believe in your husband. I want to do everything I can to help him, but I can't take the law into my own hands.
Law? What about justice? My husband is innocent. Do you think I could live with a man for 10 years, bear his children, love him, and not know that he couldn't kill? If you send him back, it's the same as if you put a rope around his neck personally.
You've got to let me help him in my own way.
Please let him go. Please.
This woman Chandler's been seeing at the Bella Union. What'd you find out about her?
Well, she talks with a southern accent, and she's trying to get tickets on a ship that leaves tonight.
What ship?
The one with Keel and Chandler.
Where is he now, Chandler?
Right here. Back at Keel's cell.
Who let you in here, Chandler?
I just walked in.
You stay away from my deputies. Just keep out of here.
Just having a talk with my prisoner. Thought you and I might have a little talk together. Just you and me.
You know where my office is. If you got anything to say to me, save it there.
Marshal, did you see that my wife gets this after I...
You gonna talk?
I told you I can't.
All right, I won't give it to her. Listen, Keel, I don't know who you're protecting or why you won't talk. But I do know what you're doing to your wife and children. Now, maybe you got a right to throw your own life away. But what right have you got to torture your wife and leave your children to end up the way you did?
Shut up and leave me alone.
All right, Chandler, what is it?
Marshal, a job like mine's not an easy one. Sometimes you have to do things you don't like.
You know, Chandler, you're like a vulture. You gotta be sure your prey is helpless before you go after it.
I didn't come here to argue.
What did you come here for? Got another scalp you want me to go out and bring in for you?
Nothing like that, Marshal. I've been thinking. It's a shame a nice fellow like Keel is going to be taken away.
What?
Well, I begin to think he's innocent.
Why?
Well, he's got a lot of friends, does a lot of things for kids.
How much did you say Keel's worth to you?
$5,000.
Supposing I could get some of Keel's friends to put up twice that much to let him stay here.
Beginning to make sense, Marshal.
You mean if Keel's friends would give you $10,000, you'd find some way of letting him escape?
Oh, I sure would.
What's in it for me?
Well, I done most of the work. You get me $10,000, I'll give you $2.
Chandler, you're under arrest for attempted bribery and obstruction of justice. You can witness that, Fargo.
I sure will.
And this, take him back.
You can't hold me here.
No? Chandler, I'll throw the keys away unless you start talking. Now listen, somebody doesn't want Keel to ever tell his story. And they're using you to see that he never does. Who is that somebody?
I ain't got nothing to say.
No? You know I've had a man on you ever since you came here? I know every place you went, everyone you talked to.
You got nothing on me.
Except Mrs. Tinsley. She told us everything. Signed a sworn statement. How much she paid you.
She's lying. She ain't got nothing on me, and neither of you.
I wouldn't have, Chandler. If you weren't so greedy. Thanks a lot. You're a real hog.
No, you're mistaken. I never even heard of the man. Chandler, is that his name?
Don't lie, Mrs. Tinsley. Shall I tell you each time he was here, and for how long?
I don't know any Mr. Chandler.
Chandler's in jail. He told us you hired him, and why?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Mrs. Tinsley, I've got less than 2 hours to keep a man from being dragged back to certain death. You know this man. You know he's innocent.
No.
No. What are these doing here? Why did Chandler come here twice? Why are you so upset, Mrs. Tinsley? You do know Ralph Keel, don't you?
No.
Well, I'm not going to question you anymore. I'll let Keel do it himself. You're coming with me. Come on, now. One that Chandler could bribe. How much did he pay you to let him out of here with Keel?
Let go of me.
Listen, Carter, 5 uncles on the city council won't save you. If anything happens to Keel, I'll see you hanged. 10 o'clock. If Chandler gets Keel on board that ship before it sails, he's out of my jurisdiction. Jeremy, get to Judge Walker. Get a warrant for Chandler's arrest. Attempted bribery, obstruction of justice. Meet me at the dock. He may have circled around. Check the warehouse entrance. Chandler?
You looking for me, Marshal?
Throw that gun down.
Keel's still my prisoner. Taking him on this boat. You try to stop me and I'll put a bullet in him. Now, just move over, Marshal. There's nothing you can do.
That's where you're wrong, Chandler. You kill him. Jurisdiction or no jurisdiction, I'll throw this badge away and I'll come after you. And I'll stay after you until I kill you.
Whatever I did was for my son. I couldn't let them take him away.
Your son killed Senator Dupre, didn't he?
Yes. Powell was the senator's stepson. They never got along. My son gambled, and the senator disinherited him. But Paul kept on running up debts until I couldn't hide him any longer. One night they had a violent argument. I was upstairs and I heard 2 shots. When I came into the room, the senator was dead and a priest was kneeling beside my son. Powell thought he was dying and the priest was hearing his confession. Oh, Mr. Keel, I beg you to forgive me. Powell didn't die. He's the only thing I have left in the world.
I would never have spoken.
You were the priest.
I told you I broke into a church. I stole a priest's clothes. I prayed. I vowed a dedicated life if he would help me to escape. Paul believed I was a priest. And for that moment, I was a priest. His confession was sacred, then and now.
Ralph, it's all behind you now.
Behind me?
Tell him about the statute of limitations, Jeremy.
The statute of limitations has run out on the other crimes. The state of Louisiana will take care of all.
You can go home now, Ralph. Give our best to Clara.
Marshal, will you kindly escort me to the ship?
California. Oh, I've traveled here, I've traveled there. I guess I've been most everywhere. But I like where I am today, and here is where I'll stay. Now, one thing I just can't endure is being broke and being poor. So I come west to take the cure, and here is where I'll stay. I've come to California, California. There's gold in them there hills in California. I've come to live where life is best, in the golden west. I'm gonna strike it rich in California, California, California. There's gold in them there hills in California.